Hi, today I want to talk to you about the Bunsen burner and how you would properly light a Bunsen burner. We're going to be using this type of Bunsen burner today in our labs, and we're going to need a source of fuel. For today, what we're going to be using is natural gas, which comes through the gas lines in our classroom. I want to talk to you about this because natural gas is made up of two main components. The two main components are methane and ethane. Methane is there in larger quantities. Now, natural gas is a mixture, so the exact ratios of methane and ethane and a few other gases can vary. But methane is going to be the predominant gas present. When you get ready to light your Bunsen burner, you're going to come to what I'm going to call the main valve. Now, you'll notice that here at the main valve, we have the nozzle, which in the direction it's pointing, that's going to control how much gas comes through the lines. You want to regulate this, and so this is what I call the course adjust. If you start to turn this on, I can move this quite a distance, and I still hear no gas coming through the lines. Here's the nozzle right here, and if you line this up completely with the nozzle, then it's on full blast. That's not very good for working in the labs. But for right now, what we can do is hear, I think, the gas coming through. So I'm going to turn it very slowly, and you can listen for the gas, and I'll raise my hand when I first hear it. But if I push through, I decrease the amount of gas, and now it's off again. Students may think that moving the valve to this position is going to close the gas, but there's possibilities for a small leak. We want to make sure that we turn the gas completely off, that we have it at a 90-degree angle from the main valve where the gas is entering. All right, now, this is our Bunsen burner. You know, it gets a little cumbersome here. What if I don't want my Bunsen burner over here in front of the sink? Well, the easiest thing, the smartest thing to do is simply just to rotate your Bunsen burner. And so you want to get it so that in a position so that the Bunsen burner is sitting flat on the counter, flat on the counter. You don't want it tilted over to some side like this. That's ridiculous. Let's have it sitting flat on the counter, and then when you hook this up, you're going to have your Bunsen burner in a position where you can work comfortably. Now you see I'm not sitting it right in front of the sink, but just by rotating the Bunsen burner in the hose here, I can have it sit flat on the desk in a position where I'm comfortable doing my work. Now, we want to light the Bunsen burner. To do this, there's lots of things that we could use. For example, there are strikers that you can get from any hardware or grocery store. This will provide the flame that we would need to light our Bunsen burner. But in our classroom, rather than using matches or that, we're going to use a striker. Now, if you'll zoom in on the striker, I'm hoping you can see this. There's a rough surface here, and you're going to move a piece of flint across that to create a spark. Well, not in this one. And I'm not sure how well it shows up, but in this particular example, there is no flint. If you are going to be trying to get a spark here, it's going to be very difficult. This tip screws off, and it can be replaced. So if you'll compare here two different flints, one which is usable because you can see the piece here that's going to be creating the spark, and one which if you use this side, it's just going to be metal on metal, not a good idea. So we're going to take this, we'll put it back under the cap, And then with it facing away from me, you can see by simply moving this across the rough surface, I create a spark. That's going to light the gas. So let's think. We're going to turn on the gas at the main valve, but there is a second location for adjusting the gas, and this is at the base of the Bunsen burner. There is a little wheel here, and by turning it, you can fine adjust the gas. So now we've looked at two locations for adjusting the gas, the main valve and here at the fine adjust. So I'm going to turn on the gas. Now, how do I know that the gas is on? Well, I'm going to listen for it. And sometimes I want to hear when it first comes up, so I listen. I really do. I'm turning this to the correct position. Now I hear a slight amount of gas coming through. I'm going to bring the striker to about 1 inch above the surface or the top of the Bunsen burner, and then there's my flame. Now, if you have too much gas coming through the lines, it's simply going to blow the flame out as fast as you light it. So you do not want this on full blast. You want it a gentle flow, steady flow of gas. What about this Bunsen burner flame? Well, we want to have our flame about 4 to 5 centimeters high, and we want to have a cone within a cone. Can you focus on the flame itself, and can you see that there is a very distinct inner blue cone inside the flame? That's what we're looking for. If you're looking, I'm going to pull out a glass stirring rod. If you're looking at this, I can see, and you may not be able to see it in the video, but the top of the flame is at this location. The top of the inner blue cone is here. And so the hottest part in the flame is at the top of the inner blue cone. This is where you'd want to do your work. This is the hottest part. You're going to be able to boil water faster. You wonder why you're the last person getting through with the lab at the end of the day? Well, it's because you're not working in the hottest part of the flame. There are a lot of things to consider here. Remember I talked about the fine adjust? Well, that's going to control things like the height of your flame and the cone. So I can change the height of the cone, the amount of gas coming through, by using the fine adjust. But I want to have a nice, distinct inner blue cone. Let's look at one more thing that we have to consider. You know, in order to have a flame, we have fuel, the natural gas, we have a spark to ignite it, but something else is required for burning. Not only must you have the fuel, but you need something that's in the air. You need oxygen. And we regulate the oxygen by rotating the barrel of the pipette, of the Bunsen burner, sorry. You'll notice that there are some portals here, openings along the sides, and so I'm going to rotate the barrel up and down to show you the difference in the flames. First, I'm going to rotate it down. I'm going to close the portals off. You can't see them very well now, but I will be showing them to you. And look at what happens. When I rotate down, I no longer hear the noise, the flickering of the flame. And if I continue to rotate down, you'll notice that the flame totally changes in its appearance. This is not a hot flame. The blue flame is much hotter. That's one advantage. It's hotter. The blue flame is hotter, and the blue flame is cleaner. If you were to take a white porcelain evaporating dish and put it into this flame, it would become covered with soot. So we don't want a lot of soot particles floating around in our air. So we do not want the yellow flame, which is cooler and dirty. We want to rotate the barrel up. Now, can you focus in on the windows here? And I'm going to keep this in a certain position. And I'll start now to rotate the barrel up. So that hopefully you can see the windows opening, allowing more oxygen to circulate in. This is a Bernoulli effect if you studied that in physics, because what happens is as the fast rushing gases push through the Bunsen burner, and these portals are open, this fast rushing gas pulls in the air, the oxygen in the air, to make a mixture of fuel and oxygen that can be burned. And so we want the right ratio, we want the right amount of oxygen and fuel here. If I rotate the barrel up then, you start to get a little more noise. And now, in moving from the top of my flame down, I only have one cone and it's quite large. I'm probably going to want to cut back my gas just a little bit. You'll be given an opportunity to play with it. That's opening the gas and making the flame larger. So I'm going to cut it down a little bit. And I get to the point where I now see, either through adjusting here or here, this inner blue cone. And so what I want is a distinct cone within a cone, but not too much noise. When you have roaring, there's a lot of other problems that you might have to deal with, mainly that you might not have the right oxygen and fuel mixture, and you might be producing some carbon monoxide. So, this is going to give us a general introduction into how to use the Bunsen burner. Quick review. The fuel is natural gas. The methane is there in larger quantities. The ethane is there in smaller quantities, but it is a mixture that can vary with the source of the natural gas. The natural gas comes through the tubing and goes to our Bunsen burner, where, if we do not want to adjust coarsely, we have a fine adjust at the bottom of the barrel. You can turn this to make the flame higher or lower, adjusting the amount of gas coming through. We want to make sure that we have a blue flame, not a yellow flame. We want it to be about 4 to 5 centimeters high, and the inner cone has to be distinct. The highest point in the flame is going to be the top of the inner blue cone. So you'll be practicing this in your lab and just having some general idea of where your equipment is and how to use it's going to be helpful. The Bunsen burners are always kept in our lab doors, remember that. And I'm going to ask you to keep the strikers alongside the Bunsen burners. That way, all the students using this equipment will be able to find it easily.